There you go. Pass to the middle. Rachel
Bump to the
sets.
center.
Malachi spikes.
Boom!
That's how it works.
That's how it goes. So moving on to fantasy football. So my team this week, what was mine? The Shake and Bake team?
That's what you call it.
That's my Shake and Bake team, yes. We are now 1-3, which means I have lost 2 of my 3 weeks, which, oh, that's unfortunate. I did get a late trade offer just this morning, and I have denied that. The individual wanted my Kareem Hunt for a couple Vikings, and although that sounded nice to have a couple Vikings, I'm not giving up Kareem Hunt.
You're selfish about Kareem.
I'm very selfish.
Yeah. Well, let's just start talking about that then. Surprise players, fantasy-wise, Kareem Hunt, Malachi?
They thought he'd be good. Whether or not they thought he'd be this good, he's the top fantasy scorer on all of the ESPN leagues right now. He has 6 total touchdowns, I believe, 4 rushing, 2 receiving. He's leading the league in rushing yards. He is set to pass Ezekiel Elliott's rushing mark from last year.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
Somebody break his leg then.
Pretty hot.
That's what I know.
You had your mouth over there.
So Toledo Rocket, Kareem Hunt, obviously living up to his expectations. Who may not be living up to expectations right now?
Technically, you could say Aaron Rodgers in a way, because he has thrown 3 interceptions, which is very uncharacteristic of him. Other options would be the Packers receiving core as a whole. But granted, you are spreading the ball out through 4 different receivers there. Le'Veon Bell has had a slow start to the year. Ezekiel Elliott had a bad game too, but he had a great night last night. So there's a number of players who aren't doing what they usually do week in and week out.
And that, I think, is normal in each fantasy football season. Players that were good last year, different things happen, maybe a different team, something has happened. So fantasy owners need to adjust. What adjustments, Malachi, would you recommend folks looking for, just in general, as we head into week 4 of the NFL season?
Well, at this point in the year, you start to see teams who have been going with 2 or 3 running backs look to kind of have one who's taking over more than the others. Dalvin Cook in Minnesota has kind of taken over as the number 1.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Yes,
yeah.
He's having a pretty good year. You have Jordan Howard for Chicago, who's kind of taken over the number 1 spot, and he had a great week. So just kind of finding which running backs are breaking out into that role.
Sure. Okay. Now, bye weeks will start happening here in a couple weeks. What should fantasy owners be looking for as far as making those switches? So I've got 1 kicker, I've got 1 defense, or I've got 3 receivers I really like, but 2 of them are going on bye. How do you manage through those bye weeks?
That is where the strategy kind of gets difficult. I've started to look ahead as to who I need to substitute, especially for my defense, because I only have 1. Granted, my defense isn't doing much anyway, so I don't think it'll matter. But
I don't think you're the only one that has that.
Yeah.
So in those cases with defense, if your defense is middle of the pack, you would even recommend just dropping that defense, picking up another one. Maybe that one catches fire anyway.
Yeah.
And I tried that technique this past week, and it didn't really do me
Tried
good.
it a little too soon.
Yeah, a little too soon.
Okay, and then just back to you got that bunch of receivers that you really like playing. So you flex the other one, 2 of them go on by that same week. Do you just attempt just to make it by with a couple scrubs, or would you sometimes think about releasing one of those good ones?
I would not release any of my top receivers. I'd try to get by with maybe a team's 2nd or 3rd option at receiver. There have been a lot of teams this year. Minnesota has Thielen and Diggs, who are both producing at high levels. Green Bay has their 4 receivers, who any of them can get you anywhere from 7 to 12 points a game. You have a lot of situations like that around the league now where quarterbacks are spreading the ball out to multiple receivers, so there's still options available.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, that's good advice, Malachi, and thanks for being here to bring it to us. As we go through the Zaleski Sports Show Fantasy League standings, we'll start in the East. Team Megahertz and First Your Last, both 2-1. Tiger Snooze, 1-2, so I'm firmly in 3rd place. And then Avengers and Big Ballers yet to find the win column. They're both 0-3. Sorry, Malachi.
That's fine.
And
I'll win
Trevor.
this week.
That's right.
He's planning on
Positive
winning this
thinking.
week as the Avengers take on Tiger Snooze. In the West, boy, we've got a couple overachievers, I would say for sure. Brianna made me Drew, and Steven has no name, both undefeated at 3-0.
Didn't Brianna like really whoop up on you this
Brianna
week?
beat me really bad.
Whoa, like a really big spanking.
And I did not enjoy it.
No.
She did the same week one.
He actually shed a tear. That's a shame. That's the first time in my house.
Team Fun with Wine, 2-1, and then bringing up the rear in the West, Joe Buck Sucks, 1-2, and Rachel's Shake and Bake, 1-2. Rachel, you need to get back on the win column.
Shake and bake is not working this week.
No, it's more like duck and cover.
It's like Lily's, what's that little Sally's homemaker oven? It's not baking anything in there.
Not baking anything, so let's bake our way out of here.
All right.